I went on a guided tour of the epic World War I battlefields of Verdun with French historian and Verdun expert Cecil Graf. I spent almost 10 hours on the battlefields of Verdun. Took the morning train from Paris, and Cecil picked me up and dropped me off at the Meuse TGV train station, which is about 27 kilometers south of Verdun. In this 9-part series, we visit the most important sites of Verdun, including the largest American cemetery in Europe. I did not film every moment of the tour. There was much more information from Cecil. I would highly recommend using him as a guide for visiting Verdun, and his contact information is listed in the description below. Just one more note. At times, a great feeling of sadness overcame me at Verdun, and editing these videos brings it all back. Senseless war and death. And for what? I am reminded of a quote from World War I. Young boys who don't know each other killing each other on behalf of old men who do know each other.
I usually start with this map.
Okay. There will be times during this 9-part series when I'll refer to this map for clarity. Right now, we're kind of off the bottom of the map in this direction and getting ready to drive up the Sacred Way to Verdun.
To make sure you have the basics of World War I?
I've studied World War I quite a bit. Nowhere near your knowledge. But Verdun, I've always been very fascinated. Just a horrific battle. But go ahead, please.
Yeah. So we are here right now. You're going to see in 2 minutes we will be driving on this road. It's called the Sacred Way. You've heard about it?
No.
No, it's the road that was supplying Verdun with everything they needed. So soldiers, of course, but also ammunitions and every kind of equipment, food. So basically, you have this line here. This is the front line as it was for 4 years. It almost didn't move. Originally, just that line, so they established that line in September 14. Originally, it was straight, and the Germans invaded that part. It's called the salient of Saint-Mihiel. And when they did that, the Germans cut the railway between Verdun and Nancy. There was another railway from Chalon to Verdun, but it was following that front line, so the train was bombed regularly. So in order to supply Verdun safely, they created that road. So you can almost call it the first French highway. 13,000 new soldiers every day, and something like 7,000 tons of equipment and ammunition.
Wow.
Every day.
Like 9, is it 9 months?
I didn't say it. It was 10 months.
10 months.
The Verdun battle. Yeah, from February to December. So with this map, I make clear. So this, and you have this shape of the front line here next to Verdun. And you see that the position of the French was not easy, because this is kind of risky. Verdun was circled. You know, it would have required just a little push from the Germans that way, and this way too. And Verdun it never happened.
Good.
But you see, this is the maximum advance of the German in September 14. And you see, Verdun was almost circled.
So they came, that's Paris, they came this far in 14, and then they got pushed back.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. See, that's part, I never knew they came that far.
Yeah, they almost reached Paris.
Wow.
50 kilometers or 60.
Okay, there's Compiègne. I went to the museum there
in Verdun.
And
you know a lot already.
It's fascinating, horrible, horrific war.
Yeah.
I have friends that live in France, and they were telling me that France's social system evolved because of Verdun, because so many men died.
So you notice Verdun, and here you have the Argonne. So during the year 1915, 16, 17, you have fights here in the forest of Argonne. It's the Germans fighting the French. But on this map, they refer to the 1918 offensive by the Americans.
Okay.
So it's very close to Verdun. Here you have Les Éparges, it's 1915. The Saint-Mille salient is also American, those two here. It's September 18. The Americans freed that triangle here. In 4 days, that was such a huge success that the French said, okay, you can do your own thing here in Argonne. And they did, and it's the final battle, 45 days of battle.
It's where's Bella Wood?
Belleau Wood is here near Château-Thierry, Belleau.
Okay. All right. So these were... See, I don't really know much about the American involvement. I've read about Bella Wood, but I did not... And the Argonne Forest battle, I've heard that, but I don't think I know much about this one.
So that's the not the very first, but one of the very first independence battle for the Americans. Because here in Belleau, many American units were incorporated into French units. So it was still the French leading, whereas here it's just mostly Americans with a few French units, but the main thing, it's 250,000 American troops fighting here.
Wow.
And when they launched this, they had gathered 1 million men. It was 200,000 on the departure, but it was 1 million men.
Wow.
That's the big independent American offensive. The Meuse-Argonne is still today. You can read at the museum. They have a little museum. You can read that still today. It's one of the biggest battles led by the American army
Ever, right?
ever. Yeah, still today. So I'll jump to my other map, which is more precise for Verdun and Argonne.
Where else are we going today? We're going to one of the American...
I'm going to discuss this with you right now, because now we have a map. So you can realize what I do. So we are here, Voie Sacrée, Meuse TGV. So what I'm going to do today is drive up there to Verdun. So the part in blue was always French, never invaded. And the part in red here, this is the official battlefield for Verdun. So you see it's right bank and left bank. Most of the fightings took place on right bank, but it's Verdun, so there were fightings here, mostly March, April, May, June. It doesn't mean the soldiers were on vacation on left bank. No, it's a big slaughter too. So what I do is I'll show you Verdun quickly, so you have an idea what the soldiers were fighting for, and then I'll take you here.
Okay.
And then I drive on the other side. It's not written here, there's a hill. Oh, well, it's written Le Mort Homme, the dead man, literally. But this is a hill that is important, or was. And then here it's not written, it's Hill 304. So that's two little hills. There's not much to see, but while I'm driving to this is the official Meuse-Argonne battlefield. So here there is the American Memorial, American Cemetery, the biggest American cemetery in Europe.
Bigger than Normandy.
Oh yes. Normandy is something like 9,000 crosses, and this one has 14,000.
Really?
Yeah. And it's only World War One. And then I usually finish with the Hill of Vauquois that people don't know, and according to me, it's worth visiting. It's a special place. So driving up there takes a little time. So this is up to you what you have interest for. What do you think you...
Well, that sounds very special, like you said. But you see, so I'm going to have to defer to you. I mean, whatever you think we have time for, I'm good with rolling with you. And
okay.
Really, I have no demands. You're the expert.